Terrans have been kicking around the Koprulu sector for centuries now. When our ancestors crash-landed here, they made do with the cards they'd been dealt, scratching out a life with two things: ingenuity and a never-say-die spirit. Now, that all changed, though, when the Zerg swarm reared its ugly head. A lot of good folks died in the chaos that followed. To add insult to injury, a low-life scum named Arcturus Mengsk formed a dominion, government built on the foundations of tyranny and oppression. Not all Terrans have bowed down to Mengsk. Some of us still believe that freedom is not a deal worth fighting for. Most of the planets in the Koprulu sector are about as far away from paradise as you can get. Terrans are no strangers to hardship. You may not have the advanced technology of the Protoss, or the adaptability of the Zerg, but the fact that we'll fight together as a team, right down to the last man or woman, well, that makes us a force to be reckoned with. It all starts with the Marines. These boys are the frontline soldiers. Rugged grunts who can face just about anything you throw at them. Most times you'll see them joined by some hard-hitting marauders and highly mobile reapers. When these tough-as-nails troops hit the battlefield, you'd be hard-pressed not to find heavy-duty support, like the fast-moving Hellion and the devastating siege tank. The Terrans ain't pushovers in the air, neither. Banshees can sneak up on ground forces and unleash hell, while Vikings can pull a fast one by switching between airfighter and assault walker. Last but not least when it comes to the air are the medevacs. Their ability to transport and heal troops, that makes them a sight for sore eyes during the toughest battles. Now, when you're talking specialized units, the Terrans, well, they got more than a few tricks up their sleeves. The aptly named Ghost is a recon operative who can score a headshot from about a mile away and bring a whole lot of pain to the other side by calling down tactical nukes. And if that ain't enough, high-tech Ravens can really mess with the enemy's head by contributing unique abilities that are both offensive and defensive. But in a really tough fight, well, that's when the big boys come out to play. I'm talking about the Thor, a walking death machine that can go through ground forces like a hot knife through butter. Then there's the old standby, the tried and true battlecruiser. Yeah, if you want to dominate the skies with incomparable firepower, the battlecruiser's Yamato cannon. So if you think you've got what it takes to take charge of an army with strong defensive tactics, it still packs enough punch to send the enemy crying home to their mama, then there's only one way to go: the Terrans. The powerful and mysterious aliens called Protoss showed up in the Koprulu sector way before us Terrans. They're pretty fanatical when it comes to their ancient beliefs, and they've spent thousands of years developing advanced technology. Despite all that, they couldn't stop the Zerg swarm from overrunning their home world of Ire. Many of them died defending the planet. Nowadays, the Protoss are warming to the idea that they'll need to embrace change if they're gonna survive the battles to come. There ain't nearly as many Protoss as there used to be, but don't let the numbers fool you. They got some of the bravest, most efficient warriors around. With their superior technology and amazing psionic powers, it's not unusual for a handful of Protoss troops to lay a beatdown on larger enemy forces. They make up for their limited numbers by using durable plasma shields for protection. But the craziest example of their ingenious tech is something called a psionic matrix, which can instantly deploy buildings and troops to the battlefield. The backbone of the Protoss army is the Zealot. Now, the word fear ain't in their vocabulary. Armed with energy blades, they'll charge headlong into battle without a second thought. To back up these fierce warriors, the Protoss have a whole bunch of cybernetic units to call on. These range from stalkers that can blink across obstacles, to highly functional sentries that are armed with everything necessary to balance the scales in battle. Now, when the Protoss are faced with really heavy firepower, they bring out one of their toughest units, the Immortal. These bad boys are so resilient, they can shrug off the high-powered attacks of a siege tank until more advanced forces arrive. And speaking of advanced forces, let's talk about the Colossus, a towering robot that can reduce a whole group of Marines to ash in a heartbeat. Technology's one thing, but for the Protoss, the power of the mind can be the most dangerous weapon of all. The High Templar uses psionic abilities to blast whole groups of enemy units, while the stealthy Dark Templar can sneak in, get the kill, and get out before anyone knows they were there. The Protoss fleet is where their engineering really shines through, though. The Phoenix can outmaneuver just about anything it comes across, while the devastating Void Ray and the Carrier with its drone interceptors will give even the most advanced Terran ships a run for their money. But the fact is, not much else on the battlefield compares to the mothership. With its ability to warp the fabric of space and time itself, this monster of a ship really is a weapon without equal. So if you're looking to lead an army with stunning technology and mind-blowing psionic abilities, then what you're looking for is the Protoss. The Zerg are the stuff of nightmares. Highly evolved xenomorphs. Killing machines. A whole mess of different critters make up the swarm, as it's called. And they all answer to a single hive mind. The Zerg are like locusts, sweeping across the galaxy from one planet to another, leaving behind only death and destruction. In recent years, the Zerg got themselves a new ruler. Goes by the name Queen of Blades. She used to be a human named Sarah Kerrigan. Someone I knew. Someone I cared about. The scariest thing about the Zerg is that no matter how many of them you kill, they just keep coming. They can overrun and infest entire planets in what seems like the blink of an eye. Queens oversee their main structures, the hives, and act kind of like generals directing the troops. Now, us Terrans like to pride ourselves on adapting to any situation, but the Swarm takes this concept to a whole new level. They're constantly evolving. Some can regenerate their wounds, while others can mutate and adjust to the ever-changing field of battle. Zerglings are the Swarm's hounds of war. They may look small, but these little monsters can tear a Marine apart faster than you can empty his Gauss rifle. That wasn't bad enough. Zerglings also have the ability to mutate into acid-filled living bombs, called banelings. When Zerglings start getting thinned out by heavy firepower, the Swarm reacts by sending in armored roaches to reinforce the front lines, and hydralisks to tear enemies apart with armor-piercing spines. Roaches and hydralisks are sometimes joined by the Infestor, a hideous mutation with freakish ability to confuse enemies by turning ally against ally. Mutalisks are terrors of the sky, well known among the Terrans for being able to shred through multiple targets with a single attack. When the Zerg go up against capital ships, they send in the Corruptor, a freaky-looking beast engineered for the sole purpose of taking out enemy air forces. In the thick of battle, Corruptors can transform into broodlords, enormous flying beasts that can lay waste to both ground armies and enemy defenses from long range. But by far the biggest Zerg badass of them all is the aptly named Ultralisk. This beast of war is a true monster. Once it's released onto the battlefield, there ain't much that can stand in its way and live to tell the tale. So if you've got the stomach to guide a highly adaptable and ruthlessly efficient alien army to victory, then you might be ready to lead the Zerg.